2022-0D05126.
5126. And Mr. Murphy, what page is that one on?
On page 14.
14. The rec is 4 TDC. He's enhanced.
Thank you. Alrighty. Good morning. This is Judge Alyssa Perez presiding over the 210th District Court criminal docket for August 15th, 2023. All matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives regarding COVID-19. In addition to that, we are streaming all matters live via YouTube for public viewing. Mr. Marufo, would you call our next case, please?
Judge, on page 11 towards the bottom, in cause number 2022-0D04822, State of Texas versus Eduardo Antonio Davila. Announcement of counsel, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state is ready.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mary Stillinger for Mr. Davila. And Your Honor, I'm sorry, we had some confusion about whether this hearing was in person or by Zoom. So I was heading out to go to the court, but then the client called and he was there and he said the lights were out. So I told him to come back here to my office. He should be here any moment.
I apologize for the confusion. I did not, as we're not quite on that in-person schedule yet till September. The only folks I'm intending to bring in right now are my in custody defendants. So I appreciate your client showing up. Let me go ahead and ask Mr. Vandenberg, what is the rec in this case?
It's 8 deferred, a BIP $1,000 fine, 250 hours of community service, UABA's curfew, standard terms and conditions, and no contact with CW.
Ms. Stillinger, I failed to ask, did you want to wait for your client to get to your office? He can certainly log in via Zoom as well by his own device, but
I think he will be here in just a few minutes, Your Honor. It probably would be best, just since I will give the court this preview, although I just like to come back to it when he's here. But I think we will have to try this case.
okay.
I think we're set on Friday. I am going to ask for a different date because it's a little bit of a long story, but I've got a case in Las Cruces with out-of-town witnesses and they have to be interviewed per court order. And I'm supposed to be in Tuscaloosa, Alabama on Monday to interview those witnesses. So.
All right, let's let your client get back. And if you'll just send Mr. Marufo a chat when you all are ready, we'll come back to you, okay?
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Who's next?
Up on
Sorry,
page
I
13,
apologize.
Judge.
What case did?
I know, here's the thing, Miss Edie. You have a client with the same name, but it's.
I was okay. Sorry, I was looking up.
Right. I know, it's tricky. We have them on the same day.
Top of page 13, Judge.
Mhm.
In cause number 2022-0D04861, State of Texas versus Rebecca Ortiz. Announcement of counsel, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state is ready.
Leonard Nunez on behalf of Ms. Rebecca Ortiz.
Did Ms. Ortiz check in?
Yes, Judge.
All right, what are we doing with, I thought this case was gone a long time ago. What are we doing, Mr. Vandenberg?
Well, the rec on this is 10 straight probation and restitution, plus the standard terms and conditions.
What's the restitution? Is this the one about the house, the ex-husband and the house?
Yes,
Yeah.
Judge, it is. They are going through the divorce right now, and it seems like the house is just going to be returned to him through the divorce. I wanted to see if the judge or the court would allow us a little bit more time so they could finalize that divorce. I know there is a hearing on Friday, Your Honor, and they are almost done with it. I did speak with her attorney, Ms. Lerma, as well, and that is what's most likely going to happen. So I wanted to see if the deed's office would be opposed to dismissing it after the house was returned through the divorce, but I wanted for that to happen first.
That will certainly be a very good thing if that happens. And I think we should wait for that because that will resolve a lot of the financial issues here. But still, the fact of the matter, this occurred, and there should be some kind of accountability for that. So once it's resolved in that fashion, that's excellent. But then we'll see about what's a good resolution. And
Is anyone opposed to a continuance?
Not the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Nunez, I imagine you can do 30 days We can reset this. I won't actually count it as a defense or state motion for continuance. It'll just be a court reset of 30 days for a final hearing plea deadline. I want to find out if that court hearing happens on Friday and there is some finality in that sense, then I want to be able to touch base with you all to find out if that rec has changed. Ms. Ortiz was a DWI with a child client of ours for about 2 or 3 years. And this case popped up right at the tail end of her probation. And Mr. Nunez, you were not the attorney with Ms. Ortiz, who was showing up with Ms. Ortiz all the time, but I know it was discussed then. And Mr. Vandenberg, I would encourage you to maybe look at your predecessor's notes on this case. I'm not suggesting that, I'm just saying, I know this case had popped up at the end of that probation, and I don't know that the state was so inclined to pursue it, but of course things could change. So
Correct.
We'll come back in 30 days and see if circumstances change things. Okay,
Yes,
Thank you,
Judge.
Your Honor.
thank you very much. All right,
May I be excused, Judge?
you may take care. Who's next?
Staying on page 13, Judge,
Uh-huh.
in cause number 2022-0D00675, State of Texas versus Eric Rodarte. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state. State's ready, Your Honor. Dennis Moore is the defense on this.
Mr. Moore, are you there?
Yes,
I know you're working with our equipment. Let me ask, is your client in the courtroom with you?
no, he's in the hospital.
Oh, okay. Did the jail confirm that, Mr. Matufo?
No, Judge, I was gonna go back there and see who they had this morning.
Yeah, if you would please go check. I just want to ask because I am seeing that, well, we're here final hearing plea deadline, and I know we also had a motion with respect to some medical records. So let me ask first, what is the rec?
The rec here is, I believe it's 20 TDC on it. 00.
So I was concerned, and one of the reasons I specifically asked to have this in person is because we've reset this a few times and he's been in custody over 500 days now. I do see though that there is a joint motion for continuance. Was that filed today? Let me look at it.
I believe it was filed late yesterday.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the rec has been dropped to 15 TDC.
Here you go, Mr. Moore. Okay, it says defense counsel Leonard Morales. It's Mr. Moore, right? Is that correct? Defense counsel advised state that he needs more time to prepare for trial. So it's a joint motion. Is that accurate?
I don't know if we're looking at the Judge Jaime Olivas. I'm standing in for Leonard Morales.
Thank you, Mr. Olivas, but I think there was a typo in the joint motion. So we'll be right with you. Thank you.
Well, the basis for my joining in the continuance is my client's medical condition. And
Okay.
also, I would like more time to get records, but mainly the medical condition of my client.
Okay, so we're looking at a reset. Mr. Marufo, was Mr. Rodarte back there?
No, Judge, it's confirmed that he's in the hospital.
Okay, so we need to find a new trial date, but let's move to the motion for release of medical records. Have you reviewed that, Mr. Vandenberg?
I have reviewed it, Your Honor, and the state does not oppose the release of the medical records. My understanding is it's, as Mr. Moore has told me, it's the treatment records for the children.
Okay, so I want to know the individual for which the records are requested, is that his child?
Go ahead, Mr. Van.
They're the CWs. The CW's initials are both JJ.
I understand, but what is the relation to Mr. Rodarte?
Well, you can kind of call them stepdaughters, but basically their mother is also the mother of his child. So in other words, he has a child with their mother. In fact, the child that he has with their mother is codependent, but she had these two younger children.
And the state doesn't have these records in their possession?
No, Your Honor, I inquired about that. It doesn't seem to be in our possession. These are children who are in foster care, and we have had difficulty accessing, just talking to, getting any kind of information for them.
But I mean, okay, so the provider or the treatment provider was Rio Vista Behavioral.
For one of them, and then for the other one, it was UBH, which is the El Paso Health Center, I think.
Was there more than one motion? Yes.
Only
there
one,
is.
Your Honor.
Yes, there is. There's one set of, in other words, there should be records at UBH for one of the children and then at Rio Vista for the other child. And I haven't, well, I'm assuming Rio Vista is going to be in the same order, even though they haven't contacted me yet.
I'm sorry, what was the last thing you said, Mr. Moore?
I said that Rio Vista has not contacted me yet asking for that order, but I'm assuming they will, and I'm assuming I'm going to need it.
So is your client the biological father of either of these two individuals?
No, Your Honor.
And why isn't the state requesting these?
I put a request out as well, Your Honor.
When?
Just after talking with Mr. Moore about these medical records.
So that's when, like yesterday, last week, when?
It was last week, Thursday or Friday. Excuse me.
All right. Yeah. I'm not inclined to grant this yet, Mr. Moore. I understand that it's some further delay, but if the state is pursuing those medical records as well, I think that's the appropriate way to get those at this time. If you need me to reconsider this, I will.
Yes.
What I do want to specially set, what is the situation health-wise without, all the details? I want to figure out when I can specially set Mr. Rodarte's case.
I'm not really sure how long it will be. The doctor, and the information I got from the doctor doesn't really give me a timeline, but I would guess that a couple of months should be perfectly safe in terms of him being.
Can we look at something? Do we have any special settings at the beginning of December?
Judge, Myrna stepped away for a minute, Judge.
I'm going to be looking at December 1st and December 8th. Let me see if I can see the calendar myself. We have something on December 8th. All right, we're going to do November 30th and December 1st. That's a Thursday and a Friday. Jury selection. And it'll be special setting. So final hearing plea deadline will be November 28th. And then we'll do settings leading up to those dates as well, statuses, to see where you all are and see if we need to come back on any of the motions, but we will be reset from this week's trial setting. Please let me know if you have anything that needs to be heard outside of those dates, okay?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Who's next?
Staying on page 13, Judge,
Mhm.
in cause number 2022-0D00674, State of Texas versus Miguel Angel Rodarte. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state is ready to proceed.
Your Honor, Jaime Olivas on behalf of Leonard Morales for Mr. Rodarte.
Good morning. Did Mr. Rodarte check in?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. What's the rec, Mr. Vandenberg?
It's 15 TDC, Your Honor.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Mr. Olivas?
Judge, Mr. Morales is requesting a pass. He just got off of a capital murder and has not been able to get ready and is formally requesting the continuance.
Okay, I do see a motion for continuance was filed. What is the state's position?
Not opposed. It's a joint motion, Your Honor.
Yes. Oh, it is a joint motion. There you're right. Filed this morning. Okay, Mr. Olivas, do you have any I guess, timetable request, because if there is not an urgency from either side, I'm really just going to put you at early spring of 2024, regular setting, get you new settings.
That'll work, Judge. That's my understanding.
That's acceptable.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for appearing, Mr. Olivas.
Thank you, Judge. I have another matter.
Okay, who's next?
Top of page 14, Judge, I have an interpreter here for the defendant, Jose Ruiz.
Okay. Good morning, Ms. Noyola.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Doesn't look like they're connecting to audio. Mr. Huffman, can you message your client and ask them to connect to audio, and we'll come back to you, please? Ms. Noyola, if you can just hold on for a minute. Thank you. All right, who's next?
Judge, middle of page 11.
Mhm.
In cause number 2022-0D00735 and 2021-0D02285, State of Texas versus Eduardo Davila. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state, and the state is ready.
Edward Hernandez and Edith Payan on behalf of Mr. Eduardo Davila. We're ready to proceed, Your Honor.
And do we have, let me just ask, is there a new rec?
Yes, Your Honor.
Old rec?
Old rec. The rec on 735, excuse me, is 20 TDC. The rec in 2285 is 5 deferred probation.
I'm sorry, 20 TDC on one case and 5 deferred on another case?
Yes, they're different cases, Your Honor. They're not related as I understand it. So 20 TDC.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Hernandez, Ms. Bayan, I guess I'm just going to ask for an update because I'm familiar with the background of Mr. Davila. And he's
Yes,
still-
Your Honor. Unless Ms. Payan wants to take it, she's the new attorney. Okay.
I will defer to Mr. Hernandez.
Yes, Your Honor. So the update, Your Honor, is we're accumulating records now. I anticipate we're going to have to produce a lot of records to the state as well because it's going to be an insanity defense. We discussed previously a continuance at the last hearing. The court said to get into a motion or get a motion in, so I got the motion in. I would anticipate, Your Honor, early 2024. Our client, for the court's benefit, but also to explain why we need the time, Your Honor, that brain injury that he received at the County Coliseum was when he was 5 years old in 1982, I believe. And so one of the doctors is dead. We're attempting to get all the medical records since everything that has happened in this client's life from that date on has been to some extent a result of that traumatic brain injury.
I understand. The motion
Yes.
for continuance is granted. However, I'm really concerned about, we've been in this position, and I understand that I have no doubt, Mr. Hernandez, that you are being diligent about accessing medical records. I'm worried about scheduling. I'm worried about the time that he's in. I'm going to set you all one more time, but beyond that, if we can't go forward on the trial setting, I think I'm going to see if I can refer you to the referral docket, because as it is, I think I would consider this one a special setting, and that would be to make sure that you all have confirmed that all of your witnesses will be available eventually. And I don't know what's going to happen with that rec. I don't really understand it. But That said, if we can't get it the next time around, anticipate that I may be referring you to either Judge Alcala or Judge Burrell if they're still available. Okay.
Understood, Your Honor.
Understood,
right.
Your Honor. And Your Honor, I'd appreciate it if we could have a little time before that next setting, at least a month, because we need to work out our expert and the state's expert to see if they're both available. If we can find dates when they're both available at the same time, Your Honor.
I will reset you for a judges conference in 30 days. But by that, I need you all to tell me when your witnesses will be available so I can specially set you. I mean, I'm fine with summer, if that's what you want to do, summer next year, but I want a firm date that you all have confirmed with your witnesses, okay?
Yes, Your Honor. And it'll also give us the opportunity to talk to the state. Granted, counsel is new to this case. I think a discussion would actually help.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your time and your efforts.
Thank you, Your Honor. Are
Who's
we
next?
excused?
Judge.
You are 30 days. Thank you.
Thank you. Your Honor.
Right.
Judge, Miss Stillinger's client is there with her.
Okay, let's go.
In cause number 2022-0D04822, State of Texas versus Eduardo Antonio Davila. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state. The state is ready.
And Mary Stillinger with Mr. Davila here in my office, and we're ready to proceed with this hearing.
And we are set for final hearing, plea deadline. Mr. Davila, my apologies to you if there was confusion about your appearance. We had called the case earlier and just wanted to circle back to your case. Mr. Vandenberg, my understanding is the recommendation is 8 deferred.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And Ms. Stillinger, so I'm clear your client has rejected that?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so we are anticipating this being a trial date, but Ms. Stillinger, you were mentioning that there was an issue with this particular trial date, possibly a reset.
Yes, Your Honor. I have a conflict that I don't think I can get around with a case in New Mexico that's set for trial in October, but I've been ordered to take witness interviews in Tuscaloosa, Alabama on Monday. Those are interviews of a complaining witness and her mother. And there's been a lot of, I won't bore you with the details, but a lot of pieces in motion to make that happen. So I would request that we get another date for this if the court has another date available for trial.
Is this our first setting or have we had a previous continuance? I don't have an issue as long as the state is in agreement. I don't have an issue. I think this is our first setting. Second, it's our second setting. We moved from June. So I think I'm comfortable putting this on December 1st as well. Is everybody okay with that?
That's acceptable, Your Honor.
I think that's fine. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll get you settings leading up to that date. See if there's any change in the case status. If not, we'll have you set for trial. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we be excused?
You may. Take care.
Okay, thanks. You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Did Mr. Reese connect to audio?
I see they connected. I don't know if they're on audio.
Judge, I think they're connected, but now I don't think they are finding the mute button. I'm having some difficulty. Can we just, we don't need, if we can do it without the court reporter, I think we're okay. We're just announcing we're ready for trial. That's all we're doing today, Judge.
Oh, okay. Are you, I'm sorry?
Which case is this?
Oh, I lost it.
Top of page 14, Jose Ruiz.
Okay.
So can I excuse Ms. Noyola?
Yes, ma'am. And I have Mr. Grotto here as well. And we'd like to also waive we're setting this for a plea for Mr. Grotto's case, but he's also going to need an interpreter. But if we could just waive the interpreter for him as well.
Ms. Noyola, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Rena.
All right, so let's call Mr. Reese's case.
In cause number 2022-0D04711, State of Texas versus Jose Ruiz. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state. The state is ready.
Rick Huffman on behalf of Mr. Ruiz, we're ready.
And we were having some difficulty. I believe your client logged in, Mr. Huffman, but they were not able to operate the Zoom. So we are here for final hearing, plea deadline. Mr. Vandenberg, what's the rec?
8 deferred probation, 8 years deferred probation, TAP, $2,000 fine, 250 hours of community service, UABAs, curfew, standard terms and conditions, and the no contact with CW.
And Mr. Huffman, is your client accepting that offer?
No, Your Honor.
Are you all ready for trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is the state ready for trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll get you jury sheets for Friday. Thank you very much. So your client is going to need an interpreter, Mr. Huffman?
That's correct, Judge.
Okay. All righty. Who's next? Thank you.
Okay.
Judge, bottom of page 14,
Mhm.
in cause number 2008-0D00380, State of Texas versus Armando Rodriguez. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state, Your Honor.
Looks to me good. And Daniel Munoz, we're ready for Mr. Rodriguez. We're ready to proceed, Your Honor. Can't speak this morning.
We're scheduled today on defendant's motion for speedy trial. I feel like we had a hearing not too long ago. I feel like I heard something about this case. In any event, Mr. Munoz, you may proceed.
Actually, Your Honor, may I interject here? And I think talk to Mr. Munoz. The state's going to dismiss this case. It's a very old case. We don't have any contact with the complaining witness. Since our last hearing, I've been trying to see if we can get a hold of her, and we've been unsuccessful. So since we have no contact, we have no complaining witness, we're going to dismiss.
And Your Honor, I have no argument counter to Mr. Vanderbrooks. We accept.
Well, okay. Then get me the dismissal. Thank you very much. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. May we be excused? And for the record, my client is right in front of me if you want to see him or.
We're good. Thank you, Mr. Munoz.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Bottom of page 10, Judge.
Mhm.
In cause number 2022-0D05601, State of Texas versus Natasha Rochelle Hernandez. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state is ready to proceed.
Rick Huffman on behalf of Ms. Collins, we are ready.
All right. Final hearing plea deadline. What's the rec?
Your Honor, I just want to say with this matter, the defendant has been accepted into Veterans Court. Mr. Huffman and I were talking about exactly what the terms of that are. We're going to get that ironed out today.
Okay, then I'll reset for Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Get your plea paperwork in and we'll see you all here in person, okay?
Your Honor, we will do that.
In person, okay.
Yes, sir.
Good job.
Thank you, Ms. Collins.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Middle of page 12, Judge.
Mhm.
In cause number 2022-0D04839, State of Texas versus Alejandro Grotto. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state is ready.
Rick Huffman on behalf of Mr. Grotto, we are ready, and Mr. Grotto is present in my office today.
Okay, final hearing plea deadline. What's the rec, Mr. Vandenberg?
We have an agreement on this. I'm going to write it up, but the agreement is Mr. Grotto will plead to a simple assault, Class A misdemeanor. Credit for time served, 56 days.
Is he here? Do you want to do it this morning?
He's here, Judge, we can.
We haven't written, we just made the agreement this morning, have not drafted it. We could do it this afternoon.
No, you can do it this morning. So when we come on up for the in-persons, have your plea paperwork and bring your client up, Mr. Huffman.
Okay, we'll do that.
Thank you. Who's next?
Staying on page 12, Judge.
Mhm.
In cause number 2022-0D04926, State of Texas versus Jose Daniel Hernandez. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state is ready.
Rick Huffman on behalf of Mr. Hernandez, we are ready.
And did Mr. Hernandez check in?
Yes, Judge, and he's logging in, but he did check in yesterday, Judge.
Okay, what's the rec, Mr. Vandenberg?
5 years deferred probation, BIP, $1,000 fine, 250 hours community service, UABAs, curfew, no contact with the CW, and standard terms and conditions.
Mr. Huffman?
I have conveyed that offer to my client, and we are respectfully rejecting that offer.
Are you ready for trial?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Vandenberg, are you ready for trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. We'll get you the jury sheets. Who's next?
Right below that one, Judge. In cause number 2022-0D04823, State of Texas versus Ethan Latoma. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state is ready.
Rick Huffman, on behalf of Mr. Latoma, we are ready.
And did the defendant check in?
Yes, Judge.
What's the rec?
3 years deferred probation, BIP $1,000 fine, 250 hours community service, UABAs, curfew, no contact with CW, and standard terms and conditions.
Mr. Huffman?
I have conveyed that. We've rejected that offer and we are ready for trial, Your Honor.
All right. Next case.
On page 14, Judge, second on page 14.
Mhm.
And cause number 2022-0D04932, State of Texas versus Tristan Trujillo. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state is ready.
Rick Huffman, on behalf of Mr. Trujillo, we are ready.
In this matter, the rec is 4 years deferred, TAP, $1,000 fine, 250 hours community service, UABAs, curfew, standard terms and conditions.
Did Mr. Trujillo check in?
He did check in today, Judge.
Okay. All right, Mr. Huffman? Oh, there he is. Hi, Mr. Trujillo, sorry. Mr. Huffman?
Judge, so we have conveyed that offer. It has been rejected. There's just one issue, Judge.
Mhm.
I don't know. At the last few hearings, we've been requesting the Taser reports, and they still have not been uploaded. When I try to subpoena records from EPPD, they tell me you got to get the records from the DA's office. So they filed motions to quash. I don't know what to do. If I subpoena them, I'm not going to get them. I need these records because they are more thorough records from all the officers. That's my understanding, that all the officers have to do reports. This is a very fact-sensitive case, and I think those records are going to be important. I could try to get the records by Friday, or maybe I could get some help from Mr. Vandenberg. Or
Do you have those in in the state's possession, Mr. Vandenberg?
Looking through the case. What?
This is our second trial setting.
Going through the records where they would most likely be. I don't see that they're here. I'm not doing a thorough search, but the most important areas, they're not there.
So allegedly your client was tased and you want those records, Mr. Huffman? What I'll say is for you all to confer, obviously, if you're going to ask for a continuance, I want to know if it's something that the state has in their possession or has been requested, or what the status of those records are. Okay.
So it's my understanding, Judge, that these records must be done. These type of reports must be done every time a taser is used. In the reports, they do mention that a taser was used.
Okay.
So I just assume there are those records. But so.
And had you previously inquired with the state about them?
I've been asking, Judge.
I'm going through the notes, Your Honor, and there is discussion here about a Taser report.
Okay. So I'll let you all talk about it, but unless it sounds to me like you're not going to go without those records. So I need you to file a motion, and I want to know what the status of those records is before I grant that motion. Okay.
Shall we come back on Thursday to kind of have a hearing on that motion to continue, or?
We can reset for Thursday.
I'm going to try to I'm bringing in Mr. Trujillo this tomorrow, and we're going to do our best to be ready, but.
I get it.
Okay.
All right, next. Thank you, Mr. Trujillo.
Top of page,
Sorry.
top of page 12, Judge.
Mhm.
In cause number 2023-0D01541, State of Texas versus Jose Hernandez Garcia. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state, and the state is ready.
Is this the gentleman that just went and picked up another DWI third?
I believe so.
I bet you Jasmine.
Sorry, is this Mr. Huffman?
Mr.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, this is mine. Rick Huffman on behalf of Mr. Garcia.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong Jose Hernandez. So, yeah, your client at the end of July picked up another DWI third. Okay,
Are we set for what are we set for?
we're just set for a review. He didn't even give me a chance to review. He was having some issues with the monitor, and according to the new report, I think I know why.
And he picked up another one, okay.
So
Oh, no,
count up those DWIs, Mr. Vandenberg, and make sure you look at that closely before you make your rec.
Yes, Your Honors, will do.
Thank you. Next.
Bottom of page 12, Judge. In cause number 2023-0D01259, State of Texas versus Abraham Maldonado Jr. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state, and the state is ready.
Daniel Avila for Abraham Maldonado, Your Honor. Good morning, Judge.
And is that your client, Mr. Avilar? I see a Maldonado. Okay. So did you all get the vehicle?
Not yet, I don't think. Did Mr. Vandenberg agree to?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I notified the police that it was going to have to be produced to you.
Okay,
So there was an order, wasn't there?
I'll follow up, Judge. It might have been on my end.
Yeah, I think it was 30 days, but
Yes.
I'm not seeing a conforming order. So I believe I'd asked Mr. Underwood to provide an order based on the ruling at the last hearing, and I don't see that here. So you might want to follow up with that. I had ordered it be released, I think, within 30 days, and this was going to be the follow-up to make sure that happened, but
The court wants an order from Justin.
right?
If
I'll follow up.
Mr. Avila, please get that to me, and we'll get that to the police immediately.
Okay.
If you all prepare the order, circulate it to Mr. Vandenberg for his signature, and then I can sign off on it, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's all that's pending. Thank you very much. We have a final judges on September 7th if you all need further follow-up, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next?
Middle of page 14, Judge.
Mhm.
In cause number 2021-0D02680, State of Texas versus Leroy Ayala. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state.
Michael Aronson for the defendant.
State is ready.
Good
ready.
morning, Mr. Aronson. I appreciate your patience. I know you have submitted previously the information from your client. Is your client here?
He is, Your Honor.
Okay, bear with me because I'm looking at my email, not the Zoom.
It's called Leroy's iPhone.
Let me see. I don't recall receiving, and this is what I wanted to see. 2023-0D01259. Oh no, wrong one. Give me 1 second, please. Oh. Jasmine, do we have the last bond order on Mr. Ayala?
Let me look at that for you, Judge. I'm sorry. I was interrupted.
Let's see if I can find it. I was looking for a PR report and just quickly looking at give me 1 second.
Judge, I do see one from June 29th.
Okay,
Would you like for me to send you a copy of that?
I just found it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Aronson. I just wanted to make sure there was I need to review one last thing. I'm not really inclined to decline your request. I'm inclined to grant it, but what I do want is a report from PR, and that I did not receive. That's what I was looking for. So rather than have you wait for PR to email me a report, Ms. Hernandez, if you could, Myrna, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Please request a PR report on cause number 2021 0D02680 Leroy Ayala. Mr. Ayala is present, and Mr. Aronson has provided the documentation for me to consider whether to allow him to operate a motor vehicle. What is the monitor that Mr. Ayala has at this time?
He has something called a lifesaver, Judge. And
Okay, so he has,
you have a copy of that. It's attached to my motion.
it's the portable unit with the GPS capability?
I don't know, Judge. I'm just looking at this thing that shows it, whatever this is.
I'll get confirmation from PR. Anticipate, Mr. Aronson, that as long as I've got a positive, meaning a favorable PR report, then I'll go ahead and modify his bond condition, okay?
I'll check back with the court, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. You'll know today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ayala. You're excused.